Hello again, and we're about ready to talk about chapter 11, which is the first of the three chapters about marketing. And this one's going to talk about the customer connections, and we're going to talk about different things in this chapter, like customer relationship management, target marketing. And as we are a survey-based class, again, we go over a lot of topics, but we don't go into depth in many of these. In marketing, you will go over a whole lot deeper into these topics than what we are going to. So again, you'll hear me talk about a lot of topics, but we're going to do a deep dive in any of them. Again, we'll save that for the marketing class. All right. So with that said, let's talk about what marketing is. And so it's an idea of communicating a way to get people to know about your product. That's basically it. And the holy grail of marketing is to get people who did not know they wanted your product to need your product. They need to go out and buy your product. And that's what marketing's about, communicating that message. Now, one thing about marketing is utility, and that's to be able to satisfy those wants. They want to buy your product, they need to buy your product. So let's talk about how to do that. There's four different ways we can do this. The first one's that form utility. And you say you're hungry and you want to get something to eat, so it's a finished form. It could be a meal. Time sensitivity could be something you need at a specific time. So you're studying, it's a late night, and you just don't feel like getting a snack. You call Pizza Hut or whatever, they deliver pizza to you. That's a time utility. Place utilities where it could happen. So you go to a baseball game, basketball game, and perhaps you want something to drink or to eat. That can fulfill the utility for the want for something to fulfill your food or thirst or your hunger or thirst. You get what I mean. All right, so let's go on. Marketing's everywhere, and I'm willing to bet you that you have been subject to marketing throughout the day today. Now, it could be people marketing, someone telling you about a product, it could be a place marketing. You go somewhere, you see advertisements, you see these billboards, you can see ads on a laptop, or I'm sorry, on the internet. You can see these things. In event marketing, you go again to the baseball game and you see patches on players' uniforms. I think Brewers or Northwest Mutual. And so marketing can hit anywhere, anytime. All right. So we're all subject to it. There's no avoiding it. So let's talk about what the evolution of marketing is. And so for our purposes, we got these four areas. The first one was production focus, and you can see this was at the turn of the 1900s, 20th century, and so we were able to produce things a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. We were able to produce more, but it was kind of like all the same. Though we didn't have a lot of differences in our products. Now came the selling focus in around 1925. Radio shows like the Jack Benny Show, Fred Allen, they would incorporate advertising into their programs so that you heard about the product. So, for example, for the Jack Benny program, they always had Lucky Strike, and they would talk about Lucky Strike in the program, and they would sing songs. LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So that was a way they could always repeat this LSMFT, LSMFT. They were driving this into people that Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So we're able to incorporate that. All right, so then we get to the 50s. We see movies, more movies, like color movies coming out. And so you see advertisement for movies start. And then the big one, of course, was television. Now we can direct advertising into people's homes and start visualizing things. And so there were some shows in the 50s that had color, not many, but in the mid 1960s, it all hit in color. So now, not only can you hear about the product and see the product, you can actually, see different colors of the product. And now you can start using color psychologically, and it was a tremendous boom for marketing. And you see how it really stayed that way until about the mid 1990s. And of course, it was the internet. And so this relationship marketing is now we can track people much better than what we're able to do before. So like you go to the store and you got your little grocery store card, you swipe it, you're getting discounts, but you're also telling the grocery store what you're buying, when you're buying it. Kohl's is great at this. You or your family may get a Kohl's flyer for something that you've bought in the past and saying, here's a sale. We bet you're interested in this. Or you get that 30% off, and we get that 30% off coupon in your flyers. They suspect that you're going to go shop and they're going to track what you shop. So they're able to build relationships with their customers based upon past shopping habits. So that leads us to customer relationship management. And similar to what we talked about in that relationship era, customer relationship management is a program of a way to manage the customers so that we can meet their needs before they even have a need. We can anticipate them wanting something. If there's a family, a new baby in the new baby being born, Target, Walmart can target these specific families and say, "Hey, we have baby formula, we have diapers. Come buy our stuff." And then as you see this relationship grow, now you figure out they're toddlers and now they're in kindergarten. So you build this relationship with these people. Customer satisfaction. This is a way that marketers can tell yes or no if their product's working. Obviously, there's customer service, there is the brand loyalty. We'll take a look at if the customer is satisfied with the product. And so it's their perception of how well they or how well they didn't like that product. So marketing plan. A marketing plan is a document, it could be anywhere from 15, 20 pages that shows how you are going to target a specific group of individuals on the product that you're trying to sell. All right, so I'm not going to leave more at that. In the marketing class, you do a marketing plan. That's a huge semester project, and all I'm going to tell you is that before you start anything, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, you got to know your target. The target, again, I'll get ahead of myself just a little bit. The target is who we are going to focus on to buy our product. But the marketing plan will talk about distribution. It'll talk about the SWOT analysis. It'll talk about how and what how our competition is doing and what they're doing. Market segmentation. This is a little bit introducing into the target, but the segmentation can be something like male to female, Packer fans to Bear fans. And then once we get into that, so Packer fans, Bear fans, then we can break them down by gender. We can break it down by age group, and then we can go a little bit further, and then we start working our targets. So this target marketing is simply, again, who we're deep diving after. So going after that, let's say the Packer Bear fan for a second. So we look at the Packer fans and, male, female, 18 to 20, 18 to 24, 25 to 36, etc. So let's say that we want to go for females who are 18 to 24. So you see these 3 P's in a D: the pricing, the product, the promotion, and then the distribution. How are we going to reach these people to get them to want to buy our product, and then how are we going to get that product to them? That is all part of the marketing plan. Now you see this outer circle about economic and social cultural. All this has a way of playing into building that target market and building the marketing plan. The one that you see in the bottom right here, the political legal, that's the wild card, because you will see changes in laws and legislation quite often, and that is going to affect how you are going to market your product, because there might be laws against what you're doing, or laws may be saying, hey, we're changing it. It's okay to do what you're doing now. So we talked pretty good about the target market, who we're going after, but it has to be specific. You just can't say we're going after female Packer fans. That's not going to work. That's too broad. So when, by age group, maybe by education level, and then what part of the state did they go to school in, then you're really deep diving into that. So there's a couple different ways that we get our products out. So there's business consumer. So that would be like we buy something at Walmart, we buy something at Target. So let's say you go buy some shampoo. And the shampoo manufacturer will send it to Walmart. Walmart then will put it in their shelves. We buy it. That's business consumer. Business to business is a little different. That's where we produce a product, but instead of doing it to the consumer like us, we're going to sell it to a business. So it's a little bit different mindset. And typically there's a lot more money involved in business to business product than there is B2C. The demographic segmentation, again, we're looking about the genders, the age, income, etc. Okay, so we're breaking this down. Geographic segmentation, where they live. So we're looking at people in the northern part of the state, southern part, eastern part. Where do they live? How can we reach them? Psychographic, uh, the values in terms of like similar values, maybe philosophies of how things should be, and then their interests. And this is kind of tough to get this information because people won't want to talk about this, but you can try to say you want to do a quick camp and you have a certain religion or certain values that you believe that should be part of your child's camp experience. Then you would go to that camp. And then as a marketer, once you get them, you build your customer relationship management. Then you can talk to them about, hey, come back next year. Hey, we're doing this. We have this other program. So you can definitely target your marketing toward them. All right. So in regard to business marketing segmentation, I want to focus on the middle one here. This customer-based segmentation, we're dividing a market into customer characteristics. Maybe, education is bachelor's, master's to doctorate. It can be individuals that maybe have a business degree in comparison to an art degree compared to a science degree. So we can really break this down and determine who specifically are we going to go after. And this is also part of that marketing plan. We have to know who we're targeting and how we're targeting them before we even start developing that plan. Marketing mix. We talked about that already. That's the 3 Ps and a D. So you could argue that any one of the 3 Ps or the D is the most important part, but it's that mix that's going to determine how successful you're going to be. The focus might be on distribution. That might be the most challenging one because a lot of people can put a product together, but they don't know how to get it to their customers. And so they have to really work with a partner with that. So one thing that I really would stress to you as you're through your academic career, learn more about distribution. Distribution jobs, I believe, are going to be AI proof. And because AI can do the mapping, but there's still a customer service. They're still driving the trucks. They're still loading the trucks. There's still the management of those individuals. And so I think you're still going to see a need for distribution management and logistics as a whole, as a segment of work where people are going to still be needed. All right, environmental scanning. One of the first things I talked to you about was the marketing plan. The first thing you do in a marketing plan is to do environmental scanning. And what that does is you're looking around your area and in your industry for information. You want information about what your competition's doing so that you can start building your plan. So for example, if you do environmental scan, you go to trade shows, you look at trade publications, look at your competition's website. And one of the best sources is your suppliers. Your suppliers typically will work with your competition as well. And sometimes you can get some information from them about what your competition's doing. And another key source information is your customers, because as you have your customers, there might be your competition is knocking on their door to try to pry them away from you. So what are they doing? What are they offering? So you get all this information, and now you can start developing the marketing plan. As we look at the global market environment, the internet has done an amazing job of just making things smaller, increasing small businesses. And like I said, it's hard to get the product out the door. I mean, obviously we got UPS, we got FedEx, we got DHL. So we have mechanisms and companies that help get us our product out. We still have to work with them. We still have to know the regulations. And so the market is really, as you see in the point here, is virtually available to anyone. You can sell a product anywhere, base it out anywhere and sell it to someone else anywhere in the world. And that's pretty cool. You can do that. But you have to make sure that the marketing strategy that you have tailors to that specific part of the world. Not everything works the same in one part of the world to another. Keep that in mind. All right, so we have a few differences here in terms of elements. I'm not going to go through each of these. You can read these on the screen now. You pause it, or you can read this in your book. Just a couple things I want to talk about. The social aspect of this. Don't discount family, because what will probably happen is that products that you buy were probably something that your parents bought when you were younger. And so you're used to that. You like the brand. You continue to buy that brand. So the family is a very strong choice. Friends. Um, Sometimes you want to keep up with your friends, and so your friends buy a high-end product, whether it be a article of clothing, shoes, whatever the case may be, and you feel like, aha, I need to have that, and I want to have that. So remember, the holy grail of marketing is get something to want that they didn't know they needed. They did not know they needed that pair of shoes. They want the pair of shoes, so now we can market toward them. And your friends, or friends and family, is a good way of doing that. Hope you guys are doing well. Got a little bit more to go. In regards to consumer behavior, this is how they behave, since consumer behavior, how they act in terms of their purchasing. Do they go to their phone and look at a product and say they're standing in Walmart and they look at see how much that product is at Target or how much is at Amazon? How do they use that product? That's consumer behavior. How is it that they determine their purchases or what they want to buy? Again, consumer behavior. All right, so in regards to the decision-making process, you can see these ideas here. I'm just gonna talk about a couple of these. Obviously, there has to be a need. If there's not a need, people aren't going to buy. So there could be a want. Okay, you can say a want could be in there too, but right now we'll just say need. And so then they go out, they're going to search, the web, they're going to search different places, see what things cost. They may even look at reviews too, see if what other people said about the product. Um, in regard to the purchase decision, they're going to say, okay, this is my best value, or I like this company, or sometimes even people will buy products from companies that they subscribe to the same values. All right, so maybe they give to the same political group that you support, or you might boycott them because they support a political group that you don't support. So those purchase decisions, there's a lot of variance into that. And then a post-purchase decision, did they like the product? Was it worth the money? Would they buy it again? So those are things they consider in the post-purchase decision. So, so just want to step back for a second. So when we do the business buyer behavior, we talk more about this idea about customers seek highly customized goods, services, and prices. Absolutely. We are all consumers, and we all are exposed to marketing. We all buy products. And sometimes we have buyer's remorse, meaning which we bought something different, we won't buy that product again. But that's part of that consumer behavior process that we all do. Fun. So there's marketing research, and in research, there's a couple different ways you can do this. There's a qualitative aspect of it where you can talk to individuals and get their feelings, and what you do is you interview a group of people, let's say 10. You get their thoughts. You do a whole bunch of analyzing of the data from what's been talked about, and then you group it into buckets, determine more questions based upon what was said by individuals, and then you go to a focus group based upon the information you got from the individual interviews. And if the focus group agrees with you, then you can progress forward. If the focus group doesn't agree with you, now you got to figure out what's wrong with the product, what's wrong with the marketing. Then we start over again. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is the quantitative, where you do survey results, where you do surveys of customers and hope that you get good information, something that you can use to value how much people liked or disliked your product. Couple things about the quantitative research method. Number one, people will only fill out surveys if they're really happy or really mad about the product. There's really no in between. So you're going to have to get out and try to get people to return surveys. And usually, and I had one person tell me this, and when we were speaking in class, they can send out 100 surveys, they'll get basically one back. Um, usually I've heard about 10% is normal. It's good, but he got 1% back. So it's a lot of money to try to get some information, but it helps you in your marketing. So there's two types of data. There's the secondary data where you can get this information from a different site, different source, but be careful with this because this information has been massaged to say the message about what the company, what you're buying it for, what they want to say. So you may not have the true information with this. Also, you have to be careful in that with secondary data, you may buy it for one use only, and they will pepper names that work for the company that you're buying it for, so that as you get it twice, they will come back and get you in court for using the data that you've only licensed used once, not twice. So if you do that, make sure you only use it once. And then there's the primary data. The primary data is the information that you get, whether talking to customers, by doing the surveys or focus groups or getting the survey information, but that's your information. And that's information you can use to determine the steps forward in your marketing process. You want to focus on the primary data as much as possible. Okay, so this just talks about the primary and the primary data and the research data. And you can see these here. So primary data is fresh data and the secondary frequently outdated. I agree with that because you're buying something that's maybe done a year ago, 2 years ago, and it may not do you much good. All right, so observation research, there's that. We can look at people like maybe sit there with your clipboard. And back in the day, there was when the malls are busy, you see people with clipboard. It's kind of like watching people what they're doing. And you don't interact, you're just watching. Then, of course, survey research we just talked about. Um, so as we progress forward, the last thing we'll talk about is green marketing. And that is where companies will talk about, hey, we're doing this and hey, we're doing that as part of an improvement to uh, sustainability, to promote environmentally sound products, as you can see in the screen. And so they're using this as a way to show, yep, you know what? We care. It's our product. We care. Our earth. We care too. You should come support us. If you buy our product, X number of dollars or cents will go to a fund to help sustainability. So that's the way marketing works too, to try to help you feel good about yourself in your purchase that you're paying for, or you're helping to pay for a sustainability act or product. All right, so that one got a little long, and I apologize. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, as always, please give me an email, call, text, whatever the case may be. Have a terrific day, and I'll see you in chapter 12.